On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Last Splash by The Breeders. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal, and we like to talk about it. And sometimes we like to talk about things that aren't metal, too.
In September.
In September and in March as well.
We started doing this in September, didn't we?
I don't remember if it was a September or a March. Or do you mean when we started doing the podcast together?
Yes,
it was October.
It was October.
I believe it was October.
Gotcha.
When in October 6 years ago.
In 2018.
Yes.
Oh, way back when.
Back in our day.
I was 44.
And we didn't know nothing about no COVID-19.
No, we didn't.
They wouldn't invent that for a whole nother year.
And they did invent it. You know they did.
Oh, they invented it.
It's a mind
they
control.
Injected it into that there bat. Into a bat that they sold at that market, and I'm slowly getting more Cajun.
Yeah, slowly.
Slowly down in the Nolans. Cajun conspiracy theorist.
That'd be a new character. That'd be great.
Yeah, there we go. The Cajun conspiracy theorist.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's good.
Kinda. I mean,
Kinda. Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm gonna change up my diet.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
You're gonna eat more bland food.
I'm gonna eat more bland food, drink a lot more water. I even brought my big old water.
Hell yeah.
Got my big jug.
How much water would you say you normally consume a day?
I'd say probably a couple gallons.
A couple gallons?
Yeah, I drink about a couple gallons of water.
That seems like too much.
I mean, I don't drink it all at once.
A day,
Just
though?
Over the course of a day, yeah.
I feel like you're underestimating how much a gallon of water truly is.
I mean, it's a gallon of water is almost the same as a gallon of milk.
Yeah, and if you drank 2 gallons of milk a day,
I'd have a problem.
You would have kidney stones.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And I wouldn't shit for a month.
No, because you're a slightly smaller man than I am.
Yeah.
And
I'm slight.
Yeah. And I believe for my size, about I think roughly 1 gallon is about what you need if you're not living an active lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but you know me,
You're always sprinting everywhere you go.
Everywhere I go.
You're like Tom Cruise.
I am.
You're always running everywhere.
I jumped up on the couch earlier today.
Yeah. When you're not running, you're on a motorcycle.
Uh-huh.
And when you're not on a motorcycle, you're clinging to the side of a plane.
Exactly.
And when you're not clinging to the side of a plane, you're standing on top of the Burj Khalifa.
Uh-huh. I was just going to say that.
And when you're not standing on top of the Burj Khalifa, you're something to do with Scientology. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
The joke ran out of steam.
It did kind of. Hey, speaking of famous actors. So what guy we work with named Rick came into my classic rock studio there and said, "Hey, have you seen the show Chaos? It's on Netflix." I said, "Yeah, I have seen all of that." He said, I was watching it and oh my God, I saw Hades came on the screen. It's OJ.
And I overheard a little bit. The actor, what's the actor's name?
David Thewlis.
Yeah, and now that it's been mentioned, you do look like David Thewlis. You do.
All right. Okay.
I see it.
I'll take that.
Yeah. No, you do. You do. He's more obvious. Like he looks English. He's one of those people you look at and you go, English.
There's no way that doesn't have an English accent.
There's no way. That's an Anglo-Saxon face if I've ever seen one. But yeah, I think you do look like him. The nose in particular, I think is very similar. So yeah, no, I see it. I see it. I see it.
I'm a werewolf now.
Yeah, you could be Lupin.
Yeah.
Lupus. Lupin?
Lupin.
Not lupus. It's never, hey, it's never lupus. That's a reference to House MD.
Yeah.
For those of you who were not watching Fox medical dramas between the year 2002 and 2008, 9? Something like that. Yeah, I don't remember when House wrapped up. A show that I feel like there are some people who know this immediately, and there are other people who are very surprised to learn that House MD is obliquely a Sherlock Holmes adaptation.
Right. Even the name of the show, House, what's Holmes, right?
Yeah. His best friend, Dr. Wilson, rather than a Dr. Watson. And he solves mysteries. That's kind of where it ends.
Yeah.
And also he's an insufferable dickhead.
Right. So is Sherlock Holmes.
That's what I mean. And also the similarities did not end at the
insufferable dickhead.
Yeah.
Also,
and a drug addict.
Drug addict.
So yeah, but that's where the similarities end.
Right.
Unless we can come up with a couple more in the next few seconds.
I'm just trying to. Which story was it that he said it's never lupus in the.
That's a lot of episodes. Which Arthur Conan? Yeah. Which Arthur Conan Doyle story was it?
Yeah,
I think that was Hound of the Baskervilles.
Hound of the Baskervilles,
because it was a hound, not a wolf.
Right. It's never loop.
Yeah.
It's never lupine.
Yeah. I think technically you could consider a dog lupine because it's still Canis lupus familiaris.
Sure. Thought you were casting a spell there for a moment.
Canis lupus familiaris. And that's the spell I guess you cast to turn a person into a dog?
Sure.
Or maybe you summon a dog. I don't know. That would be great.
Yeah.
If I could have a spell that just summoned a dog. Like being a wizard in D&D, I feel like is pretty great because you just learn the spell Find Familiar, and then you've got a pet that you can take everywhere with you, and you don't need to feed. And you just summon them, and they can be almost any kind of pet you want, any sort of like regular animal. You can summon as a using Find Familiar within reason. The game only has certain ones, but you can very easily ask your dungeon master to be like, hey, instead of a rat, could I summon a chinchilla? And that'd be perfectly fine. So yeah, that would be great. That's high on the list of spells that I would like to have in real life of D&D spells.
Summon Fur-bearer.
Summon Fur-bearer. But see, that's the problem there.
Yeah.
Is then it becomes all wild animals that you can hunt with a Fur-bearer's license.
Right.
So you summon a coyote. And it's just like...
I'm going to cast Skin Familiar.
Oh no. Yeah, that spell would definitely be one of the one I'd like to have as just like because there are so many D&D spells that are like different variations on blowing something up,
right?
Which not useful in your day-to-day life.
I mean, it would be useful occasionally.
It might be useful once, and then someone is going to go, that guy did something. Yeah. And it caused an explosion. I'm calling the police on them.
It's like from the show The Good Place. When one of my favorite quotes from that show is when Jason says, whenever I get into trouble, I just throw a Molotov cocktail and suddenly I have an entirely different problem.
Yeah. But yeah, another great spell, a spell that would be fantastic to have is Prestidigitation. Partially because there are many fun little effects you can do with Prestidigitation. One of them, though, is you clean a 1 cubic foot of an object, and you can cast it over and over again to clean the entire object.
Right. Cast it on yourself.
Yeah, yourself, or like your house or your apartment or something like. That would be, I feel like that would be convenient and fun to do.
So I would pick ball lightning.
Yeah. Ball lightning. See, you just used the cat box.
She
smells like cat litter.
I guess it could be worse.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that. She comes out of the cat box and is like, all right, I know where I'm heading, and it's immediately to put my feet on this person.
The feet that still has cat litter on them.
Yeah, it's like, come on. Immediately she goes and seeks my attention. And it's gross. And also she smells like Febreze.
Right.
I don't use Febreze. I use Arm & Hammer cat litter. That's not a detail that needs to be shared, but
there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. My cat shits exclusively in Arm & Hammer.
An Army Hammer?
That might be one of the weird things he's into.
Maybe.
In addition to cannibalism.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's...
Some celebrities are just nuts.
Yeah.
Take you for example, this week we already knew, but we found out just exactly how nuts P. Diddy is.
Yeah, or whatever. Is it just Diddy? Is that the most recent title that he has? Is just Diddy?
I think it would be a terrible title for him to have right now, because that's the question everybody's asking.
Well, no, it's Diddy, not Diddler.
Did he do what they're saying he did?
It seems like it. Yeah. That's I don't know. I mean, I was never a fan of the guy, so
yeah.
But it's interesting to find out that he's apparently a mega creep.
Yeah, I mean, it takes the "I'm gonna let you finish" whole thing.
That was Kanye West.
That was Kanye West, not P. Diddy.
And we know Kanye West is crazy.
Right.
He just hasn't done anything particularly illegal that we know of.
Right.
He's just, an untreated bipolar with delusions of grandeur, who seems to be very susceptible to certain realms of thinking.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, kind of relevant. Have you heard anything about Linkin Park's new vocalist? Some of the weird stuff going on there.
Yeah, like Chester's family's not happy with her for some reason.
Yeah, well, and the main thing that I've heard about it. So I keep on meaning to listen to the songs. I haven't done it yet. I haven't gotten around to it. And there's some uncomfortable things that have come up about her, specifically revolving around the fact that she grew up a Scientologist and by all indications has not left the church,
really,
which is infamously difficult to do.
Right.
But part of her being a Scientologist is she was present vocally in support of one Danny Masterson at his rape trial, which he was convicted of, and is in prison for. And that's, not a good look.
No, it's not.
And it's like, she did post an apology, basically an apology, saying hey, I came out and supported a man who I thought was a friend, and I didn't know these things about him were true, so on and so forth. And it's hard to know, okay, was she there because she was genuinely friends with Danny Masterson, or was she there because the church told her she had to be there? Was it a little bit of both? I don't know. Scientology makes me very uncomfortable because they got creepy vibes.
Right.
And it's insidious. I wish I could go back to the time in my life where
you didn't know anything about it.
I didn't know anything about it, and I thought they were just a weird, funny little cult, and all I knew was the South Park episode.
Right. The one that made. Oh my God.
I can't remember his name either.
Holy crap. Chef.
I can't remember his name.
Made him quit. Isaac Hayes.
Yeah, Isaac Hayes. Even though he wasn't a Scientologist, I believe.
Yeah, he was.
He was?
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I thought he wasn't. It just like didn't sit well with him or something like that. But no, I like I feel like for a lot of people, the documentary Going Clear is what sort of publicized the more insidious aspects of that organization. I was reminded recently that no one has seen David Miscavige's wife in like 6 years.
Wow.
No one has seen her. No one knows if she's alive. It's like, So yeah, it's, I don't know. We're not saying anything.
She's in a rocking chair looking out the window.
We're not trying to imply anything.
No, we're not. Don't kill us. Don't kill us, please.
That is a joke. I mean, look, here's the thing about their litigiousness that is so weird to me, which is like, you don't see the Catholic Church suing people every time someone makes a joke about priests being pedophiles.
Right. Well, I mean,
you don't see that happening.
Yeah. I mean, let's not get it wrong, though. I mean, the Catholic Church in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Has done some pretty. Oh,
they wouldn't have sued you. They would have killed you.
Yeah.
But it's weird to me. Mm-hmm. It's weird. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, that's religion, folks.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for our religion segment of the podcast. Now, moving on and now for something completely different. A man with 3 buttocks.
That's me.
That's you. You're the man with 3 buttocks.
The man with the weirdest James Bond movie.
The man with 3 butts. James Bond. We've got a mission for you, Bond. You must track down the man with 3 buttocks. You must find him, James. Find him for me. 007. How British am I? It's my favorite. There's a great podcast called Super Ego.
Yeah.
That people should seek out and listen. If nothing else, search "How British Am I" into YouTube and watch the clip. It's a great little clip. Yeah, I don't know. I've run out of things to talk about.
I'm exhausted. You know,
yeah,
I'm tired.
I feel like I'm finally sort of coming back a little bit. Like my last couple of weeks, my shoulder has been bothering me. They went to the clinic, said I have bursitis, gave me some steroids, and those seemed to helped quite a bit. And now I feel like my shoulder is mostly back to normal. Mm-hmm. But for a while there, like it was seriously fucking with my sleep. Like I could not sleep very well. And now I feel like I'm kind of finally sort of recovering from that a bit. I also think like the withdrawal or the after effects from the prednisone probably didn't help things. Sure. I know, steroids like that tend to, you tend to kind of feel when you're done taking them. Yeah. I was like, every muscle in my body was like sore for several days after I'd run out, after the prescription was
jacked?
over with. Yeah, I was so jacked and it went away so quickly. But I was fucking cut. I was so cut, dude.
You were swole.
I was swole as hell. But no, but I feel like I'm getting better now. Speaking of sleep stuff, I was talking to you about this, about how like I'm going to buy a new bed, but now I'm wondering if I should wait to do it or if I should do it right now, because the bed that I want to buy is available online through their own particular store. Right. And they deliver, and delivery is free, which is great. But they don't let you set up a time for delivery. They just are going to drop it off, and it's 1 to 2 days is what they say. I don't really buy that.
Have it dropped off at the station.
I could. I just also, I don't know how big the package is going to be. I know it's small. How big is that package?
You know it's small.
Yeah. Like I know it's smaller than a queen sized bed because like it doesn't inflate, but it expands. It's a memory foam mattress.
It's mushed up.
So it's, it's vacuum packed basically, where it's more condensed, but I don't know how big that is. And then I'm also going to be getting the foundation for the bed, because since it's a memory foam mattress, it doesn't need a box spring. It has like its own foundation thing, which I figure I might as well just buy. Yeah, I could just put it in my garage, but again, I don't know how much space it's going to take up, so I might have to move my car out of the garage, which it's all right. It's October, like it's not, the middle of the winter.
Right.
It's okay for my car to be outside for a while. Right. That's where it was for several years before I got a garage.
Crap, where am I going to park then?
Yeah, because you always park in my spot, which you're welcome to. But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't know what I want to do with it, or if I want to wait until I'm very close to moving in and then have it delivered to, to my new apartment in the couple of days before I move all of the rest of the furniture in. Part of it is just because, like, I could just get it now and set it up in this apartment.
But then you're just going to move it.
But then I'm just going to move it. But there is a part of me that's just like, man, it would be nice to sleep in a bed that's not so old and shaped like me.
Right. And it's probably full of you.
Oh God, it's gross. It's nasty. I should have gotten a new bed so long ago.
Nobody smell Kale's bed.
Please don't.
Yeah.
For your own health. But
mental and physical. Yeah.
Mental and physical. Yes, certainly. So I don't know. It's far from the worst dilemma to have, but it's one more thing that I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. I got my sink fixed finally.
That is nice.
I had a plugged garbage disposal for an extremely long time that I just didn't bother with because I never used the garbage disposal. And the main thing that it was a problem for is if I wanted to run my dishwasher, the dishwasher drains into the sink with the garbage disposal above where the disposal actually, like, it drains into the reservoir of the disposal where the blades are.
Under
so
the sink
if
itself,
that is plugged, the water from that gets pumped out of the washing machine, the dishwasher, fills up the sink.
Sure.
That is connected to the garbage disposal. And I had a bunch of dishes that had just been kind of sitting in the dishwasher for a long time because I just tend to hand wash the same handful of dishes.
Right.
Because I live alone and my life is a nightmare.
I live alone.
My life is a nightmare. That's a weird. That's what they're saying. That's what those guys are singing about now.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know why my impression of that band turned into SpongeBob.
I don't know.
They weren't that whiny. It's not that far off, but they weren't that bad.
Yeah.
What band is that? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
I'm just a kid. I don't remember what band that is. It's not the All American Rejects. I don't think it is. But so I got that fixed. And then on Saturday, I replaced a ton of burnt out light bulbs as well. During which time I learned that pretty much every lighting fixture in this fucking apartment uses a different goddamn light bulb. Why?
Simple plan.
Okay. But yeah, I was so frustrated because like every single one, I was like, I unscrewed the light bulb to look at it so I could, like put it in the cargo pockets of my shorts when I go to Menards and find a replacement. And they were all different. Every one of them was different. And I learned that I think the vast majority of light bulbs in existence can be replaced by a 60 watt LED. Pretty an A19, LED can replace almost every light bulb.
Indeed.
But yeah, so
is that what you bought? Did you just go buy?
It ended up being, there was one that was like, it was like a 40 watt halogen bulb.
Sure.
That I found a specific 40 watt LED to replace it with. That's the one that's in the hallway.
Okay.
But I finally replaced these light bulbs in here so that if I don't have my lamps on, I can just turn that on with a light switch. That's so convenient. I kind of prefer the softer light of the lamps anyway, but I originally set those up because I was streaming regularly a few years ago, and
sure,
I could point those at my face and it would look better.
I don't like overhead lighting. It bothers me. I wish, and I've suggested this at work a number of times, if I could just go get some tall floor lamps.
Yeah.
And just put them around the place.
Light the entire place with floor lamps.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer them just for convenience. Just it's more even lighting. Like there's not a overhead light in my living room, and that bugs the shit out of me.
Really?
Like the living room is lit entirely by lamps, and that bugs me a bit.
Yeah, see, I have an overhead light in my living room, and I don't turn it on. I will walk all the way into the house and turn on the lamp.
Yeah. The lighting that does bother me is like white lighting. I prefer like a soft yellow or something. Just something that feels warmer. Something that emulates the glow of a old fucking filament bulb or halogen or something.
Right.
I prefer that.
So you don't like the white lightning?
I don't like the white light. Whatever.
So anyway,
the Breeders. So the Breeders are an American alt rock / alt pop band
from Ohio.
That got started back in the late 1980s as a side project for Kim Deal
of the Pixies,
as well as her twin sister Kelly. And there was also Josephine Wiggs and Jim McPherson, and also on the first few of their projects, Tanya Donnelly, who we talked about, her band Belly a couple weeks ago.
Right. She left this project to go.
Yeah, she
do that one.
Left this to focus specifically on Belly. And in a similar vein, I mean, like the Pixies continued to be a thing, but the Breeders kind of became the main focus for Kim Deal as well.
The Deal twins.
Yeah, the Deal twins in the 90s. But yeah, this is I feel like this personally is even more 90s than Belly was. This feels extremely 90s alt rock, extremely 90s alt rock.
This kind of defined the scene a bit.
Yeah. I think that is probably appropriate. One of their albums, Kurt Cobain named as like one of his favorite albums ever. I think that might have been their album from 1990. Pod. Yeah. Kurt Cobain cited Pod as one of his favorite albums of all time to show you like what kind of influence their music had. But,
and then he in turn influenced some other people.
In what? I've heard the name, but I have no idea what band he was in.
He's a chef, actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
And a famous chef. A famous marksman.
Oh.
Yeah, that was poor taste.
Also incorrect. It was trap shooting.
Oh, jeez.
Because it was. It wasn't a rifle.
Oh, right. It was a shotgun.
It was a shotgun. And that is the most tasteless joke that we've done in a long time.
Very tasteless. I apologize for that.
That joke wasn't infected with COVID at some point.
Yeah.
It's got long COVID. No taste, no smell.
Okay, just one more thing. If that's the case, if it was trap shooting, was his last word pull? Wow.
And yeah, and we'll, all right.
Okay.
All right, and we're done.
Okay.
Thank you for listening, everyone. That's a wrap on the podcast. It's the last episode. So yeah, this album, Last Splash, came out in 1993, and there's a whole bunch of different versions and re-releases and bits, and like the Wikipedia page confused the shit out of me because there was so. Like the vinyl release has so many extra tracks and like live recordings and shit. It's like a 3-disc release or something like that.
Right.
Absolutely nuts. But yeah, this album definitely had a fair bit of a legacy. It's generally considered by critics to be probably, their album with the greatest impact and legacy, and considered by a lot of critics to be one of the best albums of the 1990s, and even placed in the middle of the pack in one of, I believe, Rolling Stones' 500 best albums of all time.
Wow.
Which seems like pretty crazy high praise. So what's your sort of experience with this album?
I had this on CD somewhere.
What's that?
CD. There are these. It's short for compact disc.
What's a disc?
Wow, that's the question that indicates some greater problems.
I don't know what a disc is.
But I had this on and I listened to my Dodge Colt that I owned at the time. I played it in my car.
In your car.
In my car. Yeah,
there in your car.
Yeah, there in my car. Yeah.
Where you felt safest of all.
Yeah.
Is that the car you lived in
yes.
briefly? Your Dodge Colt?
The Dodge
what kind
Colt.
of vehicle is a Dodge Colt?
A Dodge Colt is a tiny hatchback.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was hoping you were going to say it was like an SUV or something, or it was like a Bronco.
Nope.
But nope, because also horse. Right. So Colt, Bronco. I guess it would make sense that a Colt would be smaller than a Bronco because a Colt is a baby horse. So it makes sense that it would be a little car.
It was distributed in the United States by Dodge, but it was made by Mitsubishi.
Interesting. Like the Geo Prism.
Yeah.
Where that was technically just a Toyota Corolla under a different name, to the point where, because my dad had one. That was his work car for a very long time. And the owner's manual was Geo Prism / Toyota Corolla. Sure. Like they just printed the same one. If you have either of these cars, this will apply. They're exactly the same. A lot of it probably, a lot of it probably still applies to my car, actually, even though my car is significantly newer than that, what that model of Corolla would have been.
Yours is a 13, right?
10.
A 10.
Mine's a 2010.
Wow.
So it will last me another 20 years.
Yeah, because those things, you could drive those things to the moon and back.
Yeah, Toyota Corollas are, infamously long. And mine does not have a lot of miles on it because I don't drive to work.
Right.
And I am I've put some effort forth into keeping it that way. So yeah, my car's it's a 2010, and I think I just hit like 74,000 miles on it or something like that.
Not even $100,000.
Yeah, it's I'm happy with it. It's a great car.
You could get some good money for that car.
I could, but I don't want to because it still works.
Right.
And that's how I use the things that I own. If I have something and it's still functioning, I'll keep it until it's no longer functioning, and then I'll get a new one. I don't tend to look at a lot of the things I own as investments. Right. I view them entirely for their utility.
I'm like that with my kidneys.
Are they still working?
All
right, I'll keep them.
Yeah.
I don't think. Well, I mean, you don't generally choose to get rid of one of them.
Yeah.
When it's no longer working, they just kind of take it out.
Right.
And you don't get anything back for it.
And who was it that got? Was it Dana Carvey that they went in and they removed one of his kidneys because it quit working?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and after they did it, they went, "Oh shit, we took out the wrong kidney."
Oh my God. I did not know that.
So they had to reinstall.
Oh wow, that sucks.
Yeah,
that's stupid and hilarious.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Dana Carvey and took out one of his kidneys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, Owen.
You're Owen.
No, you're Owen.
No, you're
Owen.
You're Owen.
Your face is Owen.
Yeah, Owen, you.
A scowl of some kind?
Stern remark. About, I don't know.
I don't know either.
So this album slap?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would say it slaps. I think it's probably in general quite a bit more up tempo than the last two albums we have listened to.
Right.
It's a bit more. It's got more energy to it. It's a bit more aggressive, a little bit more in your face, kind of more in line with kind of that '90s alt-runk sort of alt-runk.
Alt-runk.
I sort of combined that with grunge a little bit because my next sentence was going to be sort of alt-rock sort of edging into the grunge territory. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit.
That's Cal. Always edging.
Stop it. I did see an article on Minot Daily News where it was something like Minot edges Williston or something like that. I was like, come on, just put out in there. Say edges out. Yeah. That's what you mean. Don't leave it there.
Williston was almost there.
They were
Might not quit on him.
They were this close.
Minot Daily has a tendency to do that sometimes. There's some people on the staff.
They gotta know.
It's like that one time it was it's another double header for the Beavers. And there was two Beaver stories in one sports page. Like
I mean, it's a newspaper.
Right.
Who gives a shit? Newspaper in 2024.
Yeah.
No one cares.
I had a good friend that was the features editor at the Minot Daily. And he asked me, he was the features editor. He asked me, you get the Minot Daily, do you? And I said, no, I don't have birds. What do I need a newspaper for?
Do I look like an old man who keeps pigeons? So this album has an 86 on Metacritic. Mm-hmm. That feels appropriate.
Sure.
What's your favorite song on this album?
I mean, I tried to determine that earlier, and then I thought, there's got to be something but it's hard to beat Cannonball. I mean,
sure. I chose Driving on 9.
Yeah, that's very country.
Driving on 9 reminded me a lot of Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties.
Sure. Yeah, I can hear that.
To the point where one wonders if that was maybe on the list of sort of inspirations that Dan might have been evoking when sort of creating the sound of Aaron West, but
Dan Campbell,
good old Soupy. Driving on 9, I liked it. It has a different vibe. I think that's the main thing. I liked it because it really stands out from the rest of the album. It has, like you said, it has that country vibe. It's got some lap steel on it. That just sort of it makes it feel different. It was refreshing right before the end of the album. Refreshing like an ice cold gulp from a gigantic Gatorade bottle.
With just water.
Just water.
It's purely water and rum.
And rum.
No rum.
No rum. So what medal do you bestow upon this? Like I looked down at my board and looked up, and his eyes were so wide, and he was nodding like a fucking maniac. What medal do you bestow upon this, like Maz Kanata to Chewbacca?
I mean, for me, it's very high silver.
Yeah, I would say it's a silver for me as well. I don't know if I would call it a high silver, but a silver for sure. I enjoyed my time with it. This wasn't bad by any means.
Right.
So next week we're going to break the trend.
No,
I couldn't come up with one that I wanted to listen to instead. So of a early 90s female fronted.
Specifically 93.
Yeah. Something specifically from 19. I couldn't come up with something else. And I didn't really bother to try because it's like, if I can't think of something, don't force it. So instead, what I want to listen to is an album from 2010 by an artist called The Tallest Man on Earth. It's called The Wild Hunt.
Okay.
It's a sort of like it's a folk album, basically. He has very interesting voice. He's a Swedish, folk musician. His voice is kind of divisive. It's sort of like, I can't think of his name now. Extremely famous folk singer throughout 60s.
Bob Dylan?
Yeah, a little bit like Bob Dylan, where some people just really don't like Bob Dylan's voice. His voice is kind of like that. It's very Bob Dylan-esque.
Okay.
But I like his lyricism, very good songwriting. It's an album that I haven't listened to in a very long time, but there was a while there where I was listening to it pretty regularly. And it's an extremely autumn sort of album. It has very strong fall vibes.
And that's where we will be the next time we meet.
We will, according to the calendar. Although according to the leaves, it's already been fall for a couple of weeks now.
Right. Meteorologists say the 1st of September.
Yeah.
That's what they say is beginning of fall.
And though I feel like the temperatures have kind of finally just realized that it is the middle of September in North Dakota.
Right.
Because for most of the month we've been sitting in like upper 70s and 80s, and then finally it's started dipping down into the 60s.
It'll be in the upper 30s this weekend, overnight.
Overnight.
Yeah.
But and then in 4 weeks there will be snow. Probably.
Okay, here's the thing. In 4 weeks, it'll be snow. Then 2 weeks after that, it'll be 90 again.
Yeah.
and then, yeah.
Fall in North Dakota is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's stupid. And so is spring.
Spring is worse.
Spring is much worse.
Yeah,
but fall is also stupid. But until we talk about that next album, why don't you go ahead and follow us on social media? We're on Facebook, and we're also on the website formerly known as Twitter. You can also subscribe to our feed on whatever podcast service you're using to listen to us right now. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.